Hey everyone,
What's up?
how are you doing? You having a good one?
Yeah.
I'm adjusting my microphone so you're going to hear some weird shit. I'm glad to hear that you're having a good one. We're having a good one as well. Or at least I am. It feels like we're getting very close to the point where we're going to break for our live stream. So let's see how things turn out here.
Yeah.
We have a close confidant who has instructed us at the point to when we should break if we want to do a finale live stream, which we do. So don't worry, we should be fine here. The discussions over Berncastle's reasoning game were getting passionate at each of the tables. At some point, each table had started competing to see which could solve it first. Oh, Berncastle, haven't Angie and Erica arrived yet? They should have been here by now. Want to make a bet on who arrives first?
I can understand Erica being late, but what about Angie? Just what kind of pit did you toss her into this time?
How rude. She's sitting on a sofa, sipping tea.
Hopefully. The sort of tea you drink suits Angie's tastes.
Rat piss? Oh, good point. How rude. That tea would suit anyone's tastes. Erica would even lick the last drop of my tea from the bottom of a miso pot. Now, part of me is dying to ask how miso comes into the picture here.
Still, it's Erica. This will be a long-awaited reunion.
That's right. Come to think of it, can't wait to see how long it'll take her to solve Berncastle's game. This sort of game is what that kid is best at. She'll probably read it from start to finish 3 times, then just say the answer right away. Oh, probably. I look forward to seeing her give up the correct answer immediately with that smug look on her face.
Come now, this is Erica we're talking about. She'll probably pull out some twisted logic and say that it was possible for someone other than Battler's family.
Oh, good point. In fact, I'd like to hear her proud, twisted logic even more than the right answer. Apparently, Battler and Beato were looking forward to their reunion with Erica. As are we. We want the rat. Give us the rat. They had already dueled with Erica in 2 separate games. But now there was no distinction between foes and allies. They truly wanted to welcome her to this party after the show as a friend.
Still, it's a bit unexpected.
What is?
You know, it's surprising that you'd let Angie go this easily.
Making sure that Battler and the others couldn't see her face, Lambda Delta sniggered. Is it really so surprising?
Of course it is. I thought that, being you, you'd torture Battler with one tough puzzle after another before releasing her, or that you'd at least try to give Angie some weird ideas and have her turn the game around in the end.
Uh-huh. Maybe you know me too well.
And I thought I knew you better than anyone else in the world.
Yeah.
So embarrassing that I was wrong.
I'm sure it is, but don't worry. You obviously do know me better than anyone else in the world.
Yeah, of course. After all, I love, adore, and understand you more than any other person in the universe.
What does that mean? Lambda Delta was flustered by Berncastle's apparently friendly words, which were very rare coming from her. Battler-sama, pardon me for interrupting your conversation. Angie-sama has returned. Oh, she's back. Oh, great. So is she okay? It seems that she was soaked by the rain, but Kumasawa is lending her a towel right now. When Battler heard this, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then he returned to face Berncastle, showing her a forced smile as though apologizing for still suspecting her just a little. Berncastle showed no reaction and simply continued to wear a blank expression with a slight smile. Angie-sama has returned.
I'm back. Battler, Angie's back.
Oh, Angie, I'm glad you're all right. I was really worried about you. She stared at Battler as he dashed towards her with a relieved smile. Angie's expression seemed somehow indifferent. That Battler. Looks like he thought I had you hanging by chains in a cave or something. What? No, wait, did we just finally make a Plato's Cave reference? Did it take us this long to do that? I feel like that's a small record for visual novels, right? This is past the 1,000,000 word point at this point, right? No, I didn't think you'd go that far.
I was just having some tea at the house of one of Berncastle's friends. It was delicious.
Did it have dried plums or miso in it? This is very important for reasons that I will not explain to you.
Of course not.
As Angie spoke bluntly, she walked right past her brother and exchanged a few whispered words with Berncastle.
What is it, Battler?
Huh? Oh, nothing. Nothing at all. If he said he was lonely because his little sister was being so cold, Beato would either laugh at him or scratch him. After all, Angie was a girl at that age. She might be in a bad mood for reasons a boy like him couldn't understand. Taking note of this and having satisfied himself that Angie was okay, he made to walk away.
Battler, Angie is calling for you.
Oh, sorry. Hello.
I've been trying to get your attention for a while. Don't ignore me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't really ignoring you. What's going on with you anyway? You've looked like you were in a bad mood for a while now.
I imagine Berncastle gave her something strange to drink and pretended it was just some rare sort of black tea.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I have no business with you. Back off for a bit, would you? I want to talk to Oni-chan alone. Come. I may not look it, but I am the wife of the territory lord. I'm already far closer to Battler than...
I'm sorry, Beato. Would you mind leaving for just a moment? By now, Battler realized that Angie's issue was more than just a slight bad mood. Beato puffed out her cheeks as though she wanted to say something more. However, she just let it out with a sigh and walked away. Is this all right?
It is. After all, this game is between me and you, right? I'm the player. You're the game master. No matter how many pieces get between us, in the end it's still a direct battle between you and me.
Well, it is true that I'm the game master, but it's not like I'm fighting against you or anything. This final game was held so you could be invited to the Rokkenjima of 1986.
Games are played to decide who wins and who loses. There can be no game unless you have foes and allies.
And sexual tension. According to Lambda Delta, anyway.
Don't try to trick me.
What are you talking about all of a sudden?
You had me totally fooled. At first I actually thought you'd take me to that day in 1986, but that wasn't true. This has all been a farce you created, hasn't it? You're using this sentimental tale to dodge the issue and leave me confused. You're trying to chase me out into a lonely future with nothing but this cheap happiness as a parting gift. There's just one thing I've been after since the beginning. What happened on Rokkenjima that day? And the only answer you gave me was this game, this sentimental party of illusions. It's obvious how you're going to try and answer my question now. I want the truth, and you aren't going to give it to me.
Angie, listen, you've got it wrong.
Don't try and trick me. This game is the final fight between me and you. I want the truth of that day, and you're trying to hide it behind an illusion. It's exactly the same. The setup is no different than those fights between you and Beato. I was about to be chased out of the game board with everything still vague and fuzzy because of you. Well, sorry, but I've already figured out that this game is a battle. Don't think you'll trick me so easily anymore.
Angie's shout tore apart the peaceful atmosphere. The family members and illusions gulped and watched the scene, wondering what was going on. Beato tried to run up to Battler, but he motioned for her to stay back. What is it that you want?
There's only one thing I've ever wanted. The truth of Rokkenjima in 1986. That's all I'm looking for.
The truth is sealed within the cat box. It can't be reached by someone outside the cat box like you.
Is that why you're trying to trick me with this sentimental illusion?
Yes, this is an illusion. However, I wanted you to remember this fun atmosphere, the harmony within your family. It's not about what happened on that island that day. I wanted you to remember the warmth of these family conferences, a warmth that you forgot.
That's just an illusion you're trying to impose on me. I'll reject it and deny it completely.
There is no truth of 1986. The cat box is empty inside. Looking for something that doesn't exist.
I won't be tricked anymore. The truth of that day does exist. It was written down by the sole survivor and preserved to this very day.
Battler's expression faltered for just an instant, and Angie didn't miss it.
So he was hiding it after all. Oni-chan has been hiding the book of the single truth from me. Aunt Ava, for the first time since your death, I'd like to express my gratitude. Because you wrote down what happened that day, you gave me one last chance at learning the truth.
Angie-chan, you have to listen to me. Everything I wrote in that diary is nonsense, and it doesn't mean that...
There's no point trying to deceive me. It's already been proven in red that your diary has the truth of that day in it. Absurd. How could anyone but Battler, the game master, use the red truth?
Yeah. How could anyone but... Sorry, that's another...
It's our Aurora, isn't it?
That's right. The Book of the Single Truth exists in 1998, the world of the future. Who else could perform a crucial role of confirming its contents with the red truth?
I heard everything from Burncastle. I've been fooled by you long enough. I don't want some sentimental illusion. I want the real truth. And no matter how hard you try to cover it up in 1986, I can expose it in 1998. After all, you are the Beatrice of 1986, Oni-chan, and I am the Beatrice of 1998.
A cyclone rose up around Angie. It was a golden swirl of gold butterflies, just like the golden witch, Beatrice.
I am Angie Beatrice of 1998, the final golden witch. No witch of the past can defeat a witch of the future.
The cyclone of gold broke apart, and as gold leaves scattered across the room, the final witch who would inherit Beatrice's name in the future appeared.
Angie Beatrice? You're the golden and endless witch, but I'm different. I'm the golden witch of truth. No illusion can stand in my way. Yes, this is the end of Oni-chan's boring party. Now it's time for my party to start. I've even readied a game to liven things up. You're up, Aunt Ava.
Huh? What? When Angie snapped her fingers, she vanished along with a swirl of gold butterflies. Replacing her in the middle of that cyclone was a girl wearing a dress, bowing modestly.
I'm you, but prettier.
You!
That's pretty rude, you know. Inviting everyone to the party except for me. You think I wouldn't notice?
You're Ava.
The sole survivor of Rokkenjima. Yeah, in the Witch of the Future, the golden and endless witch from 1986 to 1998. In the world of the future, Battler-kun's sentimental illusion is more fragile than a flake of snow on a lake. Alright, let's have some fun, bitches. Come, try to remember. All of you. Remember your endless theory making.
When Ava held her hand to the heavens, light gathered there and took the form of a bottle. Yes, a bottle. A glass bottle with no label. There was no alcohol inside. Sealed within it was a fragment that let off a pale, sinister light.
Battler, this is bad. She must not smash that bottle.
Was I right about the second game board not being the second message bottle? For all this.
Alright, it's showtime.
The bottle was slammed against the floor and smashed to pieces. As soon as the fragment within it touched the outside air, it flashed white and burst. At first, it seemed that nothing had happened. However, Ava grinned at them before becoming a cloud of butterflies and vanishing. At some point, Burncastle must have vanished as well. Oh, what did she do?
It was probably a fragment she brought back with her from the world of the future. Perhaps we could call it the contents of the cat box in the future.
What does all that mean? What? At that moment, they heard a thundering roar. It was as though large chunks of hail had started falling everywhere. An earthquake accompanied that noise and the whole mansion creaked. Dust began to fall from the ceiling. At the same time, it seemed as though the curtain-covered window glowed with a pale light. What on earth is going on?
Kyrie, look outside. What the hell is that?
Everyone rushed to the window in response to her voice. Of course, Battler and Beato went as well. Then they drew the curtains, looked at the scene outside, and were stunned into silence.
How beautiful. Oh, this is Kinzo.
Close enough.
How beautiful.
Kinzo's words echoed the first impression felt by all who looked out at the scene beyond the windows. Not all beauty is benign, though.
They always say that beauty has thorns, nya.
Though everyone found the scene beautiful, they all sensed impending misfortune from it. Outside the window, countless small objects, pale, glowing fragments of crystals, lay strewn about everywhere like fallen hail. The word fantastical perfectly summed up the scene that lay before them in the glowing rose garden. I saw something... Oh, maybe that was Rosa?
I saw something move over there. Hey, is there someone over there? Wait, huh? A person just grew out of that glowing fragment.
7 Sisters of Purgatory, battle formation.
With those words of Lucifer's, everyone finally realized that they were being surrounded by danger. Ah, the theory goats. So the goats, as we kind of figured out from the last time we saw them, right, symbolize the theories of catbox observers in the future, right? And one by one, the countless fragments shook and burst, and large dark bodies rose up from inside of each. They were giants with goat heads. One after another, they appeared from the insides of the broken fragments. Those fragments lay all over the rose garden in vast numbers and made the ground glow, so that everyone inside was forced to shudder.
45, wide area surveillance. My radar's filled with white. We're either being jammed or the vast number of readings is making a count of enemy numbers impossible.
Even as she said this, the glowing rose garden outside the window was being filled with giant goats. The fragments carrying the goats weren't just in the rose garden. They were spread evenly across the entire island. Not just the rose garden, but the entire area around the mansion was being covered with goats by now.
Allow us to speak. Know that we are completely surrounded.
Yeah, we noticed.
What do you do now, battler?
Well, there's only one thing to do with uninvited guests. Let's chase them off. Who are these people? I'm guessing that they aren't your minions, right, Beato?
The goat forms they hold are probably just imitations of the pieces on this game board.
They aren't Richa's or Leah's minions. This is something worse.
I see. So they are manifestations of message bottles. Message bottles? One's Beato made? Not quite. These are fragments of what people in the future have imagined.
Endless possibilities are hidden within the cat box. Because of that, those outside the box can imagine the insides to be any one of an infinite number of things. It would seem those endless delusions are the true form of these creatures. What will those goats do to us, I wonder? It doesn't look like they're here to give us a handshake and a pat on the back.
Those people. Those lowlifes making up and passing around stories, imagining the tragedies that might have unfolded around us on this island. I found it so fascinating that I never talked about the truth that they kept on creating tragedies one after another for their own enjoyment.
What kind of absolute asshole would read a story about this?
Oh, the humanity.
How could anyone find this fun?
How would anyone be so cruel? I see. So they're fragments from the future, imagining the catbox of 1986 however they please. In the world of the future, any and all interpretations can and do exist. Unless we deny them, everyone will be able to claim that their own view is the truth, and they will remain on this island.
What a fix we're in. Looks like we're surrounded and fighting for our lives.
Meh, meh, meh. Ooh, what are they doing?
They're eating. They're eating something.
Oh, they're eating her. And then they're gonna eat me.
Oh
my god.
Is that from Trolls 2?
I think it is, yeah. Oh, they're eating the roses. The crowd of goats was squirming about and doing something. If you look closely, you could see them sticking their heads into rose bushes and munching away. It wasn't just the rose bushes. Light poles, the bricks of the flower beds, and even the stone paving itself. They were biting all of it, almost as if they were trying to eat up the whole island.
No, they aren't just eating. If they aren't eating, what are they doing? That is not eating. They are eroding it, shaving away at the edges. The edges of the game board itself.
They're eating the game board? That's gross and unsanitary.
Battler wondering why he's losing. Me, Angie, eating the pieces when he's not looking.
Yep. In the world of the future, everyone believes that we were swallowed up by a great tragedy today. That's why they won't accept a truth where we just enjoy ourselves in peace.
Truths of the past are subordinate to truths of the future. The merciless future fangs and jaws of those goats refuse to accept our truth and are eroding it, replacing it with the kind of truth they expect.
Damn it, this is our truth. It's up for those people in the future who have nothing to do with us anyway to rewrite as they please. The garden outside the window was now filled with too many goats to count, all chewing away. This repulsive scene stole the words from everyone's lips. They weren't stunned into silence. There was just no point in making a fuss and letting the goats know a certain fact. No point in letting them know that there was plenty of prey waiting in this bright, warm room. Prey that was softer and easier to chew than roses or bricks.
That goat in there, he's looking at us.
Silence. Don't make a fuss.
It's coming this way. Tell me this is not record.
They saw one of the newly born goats head slowly toward the window. There was already a huge swarm of them in the garden, so it was no surprise that when one of them looked around for new prey, it would see the light from this window. Its immense, eerie body slowly approached, and as it grew closer, they could finally see it clearly. The eyes blazed despite being cold, ruthless, and reptilian. Those cruel fangs and jaws could tear apart and crush anything. Any fangs that could chew through brick would hardly have a problem chewing through humans. Its massive body had to be taller than the windows themselves, and it was lumbering towards this window. Only this window was made out of special Ushiromiya bulletproof glass, huh? Right? Right?
Yeah, I doubt even bulletproof glass would stop that thing.
Ah! It's coming, it's running towards us!
Allow me to speak. Know that this window shall not be breached.
The power of Cornelius' seal formed a shield around the glass. The goat was blown back, unable to even touch the glass because of his power. Its weight made the earth tremble. They could feel that clearly even inside. But that tremor had also drawn the attention of nearby goats. A pack of goats started shuffling towards them, and a fight broke out as they charged forward, trying to reach this new prey first. The window protected by Cornelius' seal would probably be safe. However, there were many windows in the Great Hall. For the first time, those windows became a source of terror instead of sunlight and a lovely view. Gertrude!
Allow me to speak. Know that this window shall not be breached.
Gertrude sealed another window. The goats trying to break in through that one were thrown back. But at the same time, they heard the crash of yet another window being smashed. Scattering fragments of glass everywhere, the massive goats broke through the window frame and entered the building.
Oh, fuck me. Ah.
Stay back. Everyone, stay back.
Kraus gonna pull out the boxing.
Yeah, I hope I gotta pull out that boxing he's known for.
Yeah.
Now the sixth twilight, the sixth chosen by the key.
Those words really were coming from the goat's mouth, along with a steaming, foul breath. However, it didn't get a chance to say any more. Forehead, neck, shoulder, chest, side, gut, knee. The stakes of the seven sisters buried themselves in deep, one after another.
What rough, unappetizing flesh for piercing. Hate to have to gobble up any more of these. Bah, bah, bah.
The other windows shattered one after another, and several goats squeezed their way into the window frames. Their mouths were still stuffed with the bricks they had just been snacking on, and each time they chewed it made a ghastly sound like bones being crushed. We will repel them.
Chester troops, prepare for close-range combat.
Stop. You start firing away and we'll have all the other goats coming in to join the party.
Let's fall back to the second floor. If we can seal the staircase, that'll buy us some time.
Everyone upstairs, hurry! They're sniffling noisily as though scanning the smells around them. The goats started chewing on whatever chairs, tables, or curtains were close by. The goats would chew anything to bits as long as it was near them. If the others were careful not to attract the goats' attention, they would be able to escape from this place. The humans ran on ahead up to the second floor, while the illusions who were used to fighting guarded the rear. The goats were completely absorbed by their feast on everything in the hall. By now, they were even brutally chewing away at the portrait of Beatrice, which could fairly be called the symbol of the Ushiromiya family itself.
Battler, the humans have all taken refuge on the second floor.
Good. Delanor, seal the staircases. Gertrude and Cornelia will handle it. However, they need more time. All over the mansion, there were loud beating sounds that might be called knocks, and the sound of shattering glass. Well now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go to work.
7 Sisters of Purgatory, right here. Let's go, you lowlight. All right, you primitive ass wipes, listen up. Tonight it's all you can eat.
Chester troops, halt all external tasks. Cancel automatic updates, accept no data, take no prisoners.
Yeah.
Eisern Jungfrau of the 7th District, by the Territory Lord's order, carry out your duty. I guess I'll lend a hand. Leon, you're in the way. Go up to the 2nd floor, all right?
But Will...
Go on up, honey. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay. Leave this to us and go. You have your own job to do. Protect your family. I understand. Everyone, stay safe.
Stay safe, babe.
Thanks.
Thanks, babe. The mansion was filled with the sounds of knocking, crushing, smashing, and chewing. The goats in their wave of destruction was drawing steadily closer. Lord Battler, Gertrude and Cornelia have finished sealing the other staircases. The large staircase here is the only one that remains.
The other staircases are tiny, so they went fast. On the other hand, this staircase is huge. Looks like you'll have your hands full buying time. I won't help, though.
Lambda Delta spoke as though it was someone else's problem. It only took a glance at her face to see that she had no intention of lending a hand. Even so, Beato didn't scold her. This was a game between Battler and Angie, after all. Lambda Delta was only a theater-goer who had been invited.
Don't think badly of me. Even I'd die if I was torn apart by nothingness. Sorry, but I think I'll stick to being an observer. That's what you've always been, though it is a shame we can't ask for your help.
Nah, she's being nice. Doesn't want to steal our show after all.
Sure, let's call it that.
As a Voyager witch, Lambda Delta could retreat from this game board of battlers if she wanted to. In other words, she was the only one who wasn't in trouble right now.
See you later. I think I'll watch this game between you and Burn till the end. I'll be rooting for you.
Thanks.
As you munch on popcorn. Of course. I think I'll have some soy sauce butter flavor today.
Lambda Delta vanished with a pop. Ew, that sounds disgusting, actually. As soon as she did, a black hole opened up in midair, and the gap fell out of it.
Battler, Reacha, could you come here for a second? You should probably see this.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Let's go. Everyone, we're counting on you to hold this position.
When the gap snapped her fingers, a large hole opened up under Battler and Beato, swallowing them both. They were spat out into an inky blackness. Both of them were floating in the night sky. Rokkenjima lay far beneath them. And as soon as they realized this, they shuddered.
This is...
Oh, it's not just a crowd, it's a sea. It was no longer a crowd of goats, but an entire sea of them. Just as Rokkenjima poked out from the ocean, the mansion was now poking out from a sea of goats.
The people in the future really are amazing, aren't they? Just how many of them have imagined the tragedy on this island?
It's nothing more than the worthless drivel of those outside the cat box. Let's clean this place up.
Look over there. It's hard to tell, but look at the shoreline.
The shoreline?
It's easy to make out the harbor, but look closely. See it?
Don't tell me.
Yeah, you're probably right. They're eating it. Eating the whole island.
Come and try to remember fragments for the future. If only you just chew up all the embellishment, all the illusions, all the fantasy.
As Ava yelled this to the heavens, hovering about the raging sea, hail fell down with a pale glow. Each was an unlabeled bottle with a fragment inside. They poured onto the island, were smashed to bits, and the fragments inside them were scattered everywhere. Every now and then the fragments would split in two and then split in two again, and every single one of them burst and gave forth to a massive goat. To say it was like a bamboo shoot springing up after the rain would be a vast understatement. These goats writhed about like bubbling, boiling water in a pot. They ate away at everything they saw. They didn't just eat the harbor, but the trees and the rocks, the entire coastline itself. Hundreds, thousands, no, tens of thousands of goats continued to eat. They were chewing away at every bit of Rokkenjima, of this final game that Battler had prepared.
Too bad, Battler-kun. The future wants a tragedy on this island. Even Angie wants the truth. Don't worry, we'll chew up all the embellishment, illusions, and fantasy for you.
By now, Battler and the others had to admit it. The future wanted a tragedy. Even if the truth of this island had been a gentle, peaceful thing, the future didn't want that. The truth they wanted was painting over the past.
The past is such a fragile thing. Even the cat box is being chewed apart.
Just who are these people? Are they really so determined to plunge us into a tragedy?
That's all I wanted to show you. Hope this helps a bit when you're making strategic decisions.
Yeah, thanks. Now I feel like crap.
Let's go to the study next, if you don't mind. Goldsmith wants to talk to you.
The Gap snapped her fingers, and another black hole swallowed them up and spat them out in the study.
Shows you something absolutely fucking horrible that makes your life worse in every way. Hope this helps.
Do you see the small frame of Beato being like, ah?
Yeah.
Would she let it? God, the Gap, if you're gonna drop me, at least do it on a bed. Grandfather, we're in trouble. There's absolutely nowhere left to go.
I know, and even waiting out the storm from here is not an option.
Ronove and the others should be able to buy us some time, but that's all.
They just holed up in the mansion. It would only be a matter of time before the swarm of goats got them. Trying to repel a few of the goats barging into the mansion would be like using a cup to bail water from a boat with a hole in it.
We can fight defensively for a while, but it's only a matter of time.
We need to think of something else while we fight. Can we escape? Where to? Is there any way for us to leave the game board?
The outside of the game board is beyond the range of our territory. Only a Voyager witch could leave.
Only Burncastle and Lambda Delta could do it. However, there was no way Burncastle would help. Even Lambda Delta had already announced that she would be an observer instead of lending a hand. So there's nowhere left to run.
Who do we think is no? There is just one place.
Maybe Kinzo?
No, there is just one place.
Where?
The Golden Land.
I see. Is that our only option now?
Indeed, the Golden Land is the most impenetrable place on this game board. If we wish to escape, it's nerf or nothing.
These things are eating the cat box itself. For all we know, they might start chewing away at the Golden Land itself at any moment.
What can we do? What should we do, Battler?
No point in thinking about it. We're retreating. If we take too long to make a decision, even that road will be close to us. Evacuate everyone. How can we open the door to the Golden Land?
I just have to open it. However, an immense wave of the anti-magic toxin is emanating from that crowd of goats. It will take some time to open the door.
So we've only got to protect this study with our lives until the door's open. Just have to keep doing what we've been doing.
There's one more problem. The door to the Golden Land cannot be shut unless two people close it from the outside.
Two from the outside? What do you mean? As soon as he said this, Battler realized. This must be the result of some agreement made between the three witches who are one.
Normally, there's no need to go to the trouble of shutting the door, but it won't be so easy this time.
Only you and Beato can fulfill the role of shutting the door.
Me as the territory lord and Beato. Yeah, that sounds like the safest choice.
Indeed, if it's just the two of us, we might even be able to protect ourselves.
Alright, open the door. Beato waved her pipe, leaving a golden trail behind as she sliced the air vertically.
We're getting so many different cursor colors this chapter.
I know. Then the gap to the door of the Golden Land appeared. It looked like nothing more than a thin golden string hanging from the ceiling. If you looked closely, you could see that the string was getting thicker very slowly. The door to the Golden Land certainly was opening, but so slowly that you couldn't even tell if you weren't careful. At this rate, it would probably take quite some time before it grew big enough to let a person through. Grandfather, the gap. We'll need you to be our inner line of defense.
Yes, there may be goats climbing up the outer walls.
Did you hear the little gun cock?
Yeah, and the face.
Yeah.
Very well, my rightful hunger is for some prey.
Understood. It'll be fun dropping those things into the abyss.
A giant was sliced at an angle, split into two parts, and fell to the floor, showering it with filthy dark blood and guts. Splendidly done. I'll let you take the next one. Countless massive goats, which had forced their way in from rooms and windows all across the mansion, wandered about in search of something to chew. I am not on the menu. Several of the goats noticed the group of people huddled around the staircase and lumbered closer, but they were pulverized by merciless attacks. Renové's shields easily halted the charging goats, and Virgilia's magic spears were pinning the giants against the walls. Delanor and Will's blades were also slicing easily through goats. Pinpoint strikes of the Seven Sisters of Purgatory could pierce the vitals and finish off any opponent, no matter how large. The Chester sisters were holding their own as well. They had blasted enough goats to bits with one shot from their high-caliber firearms that you couldn't count the kills with both hands. Given a limited number of opponents, they were more than a match for these goats. However, they weren't just up against a crowd, but an entire ocean, like a pebble trying to face the approaching waves of the stormy sea. Deviated Septum Gang, rise up.
Hurry on that gun barrel replacement. Requesting cover from the Purgatory troops.
So you run out of ammo and you're nothing but rabbits. That sucks.
Nuke it from orbit, yeah. It's the only way to be sure. I don't want to hear that from a bunch of 7 paperweights who can only kill one person at a time, yeah.
Yeah, keep them coming. Don't let us get bored.
The hall was filled with massive goat corpses. As if in fear of this sight, the goats that came in one after another formed a wall, keeping their distance.
Perhaps they think they're no match for us.
I wish that were true, but it seems to be a little more than wishful thinking.
What are those guys doing? They're looking at us and whispering to each other. Apparently they have the intelligence to talk together and cooperate.
The goats surrounded them at a distance, whispering. Then they nodded at each other as though deciding something, and the whole group stirred. What were they doing? Almost looks like they're lining up in a different order. Wait, are we finally going to get the goated goat, Kun?
The enemy is changing its formation. It appears that the individuals with greater destructive power are being gathered in the front lines.
So what? Let's go. Yes, One-sama.
Wait, something's wrong. Lucifer took aim at one of them, going for its forehead. The other 6 sisters followed her lead, trying to pierce the vital organs all over the creature's body. However, there was no sound of pierced flesh. The 7 sisters of Purgatory were knocked back, unable to cause even the smallest wound.
What? What just happened? You guys are talking about something.
The goats kept whispering the same thing over and over as they slowly approached the 7 sisters. All of them whispered unanimously.
Meh. All fantasy is fictional.
Oh, fuck.
The 7 sisters of Purgatory are illusions, personifying stakes for ceremonial sacrifices.
This part of the chapter is just Ryukishi being like, this is what you did to my poor, cute little characters. You fucking obliterated them.
Yeah.
You assholes. You cowards. Why couldn't you just believe?
They're actually paperweights. They're actually paperweights.
As they whispered curses that denied the 7 sisters' existence, the goats lumbered closer.
Get back, Purgatory troops. We'll cover you. It's time you learned a lesson, goats.
The golden bows of the Chester troops mowed down the wall of goats in a shower of bright golden bullets. Some of the goats were torn to pieces, but some of them seemed completely unaffected. Then the goats who were uninjured all whispered as one.
The Chester Sister Imperial Guards have Maria's rabbit dolls as their vessels. They're actually rabbit dolls. Maria's imagination, fantasy, fictional beings. All of the crimes can be explained by mystery. All fantasy is irrelevant.
Looks like we've got lots of people who won't accept the existence of magic. And that means no magical attacks will have any effect on them.
Hey Zepar, what's our magic? I think it's gender magic, right?
We have magic? Wow.
Gender is the most magical magic of all.
Does that mean all of our attacks will be completely useless?
Endless 9, yeah. If they don't accept that we exist, our attacks can't hurt them, yeah. Is that possible?
We'll have to test it. Morobe stepped forward, stamped on the floor twice, and a red barrier rose up in front of him. The crowd of goats dashed into it with terrifying force. While some goats were blown away by it, several of them slipped right through the magical barrier.
Nah, Ronove is a creature of magic, a creature of fiction. Genji is Ronove's vessel. He is an imaginary version of Genji.
I see. So even my attacks will not affect some of them. There's no longer any point in Virgilia trying out her magic spear. Now that some of the goats had decided that her existence was fictional, she could no longer hurt them. Even these great demons and great witches, as well as high-level furniture and weapons, were overcome with fear of the crowd that surrounded them. A crowd that would not be affected by any of their attacks.
What are we gonna do?
We'll keep fighting until the end. You don't have permission to die in battle.
Fantasy is all fiction. Fantasy is all fiction. Fantasy is all fiction.
A shriek from one of the goats became a signal for the wall of them to break. They pushed forward with gaping mouths and foul breath, each trying to reach their prey first, trying to return these fictional creatures to nothingness.
Look out!
Virgilia leapt in front of and held several of the seven sisters, who had fallen on their butts, overpowered by the ferocity of the approaching goats. However, even Virgilia was a fictional creature to these goats. They could chew through her like cotton candy. Madam, quickly. Runaway threw himself at the oncoming goats. Even he would be chewed apart easily. Knowing this, Runaway leapt forward. Even if my magic no longer functions, I am still the fiercely passionate and loyal man I always was. And furthermore, did you expect that I would simply sit by and watch a lady die?
Ronove is fantasy. Ronove is fantasy.
Ronove slammed his right fist into the side of the goat's face. As soon as he pulled it back, he swung his left leg into the goat's gut and spun around into a reverse roundhouse that caught the goat again. Runaway knew. He could do less damage than a mosquito bite against those who didn't accept his existence. This was the height of anti-magic defensive power. Endless 9.
Ronove is fantasy. All fiction is an illusion.
The goat swung its log-like fist with a sound like a storm. Runaway dodged by a hair. He had been an instant slower, that massive arm would have crushed his head like glass.
Ronove, stop this, run!
I, Ronove, cannot help but rise to the challenge when I see a lady in a pinch. A bad habit of mine. Ronove grinned and tried to act tough. He had already sacrificed all that he had. There was nothing he could do here and now except become a shield to buy time. He had already chosen to abandon his life for this.
Ronove is fantasy. He couldn't exist. He couldn't possibly exist. Illusions do not exist. They do not exist. Fantasy is all ridiculous. Ridiculous.
The goats kept coming, trying to feast on Ronove. None had any pretensions of making this a one-on-one fight. Nothing mattered except chewing apart fantasy. Even just a nibble. As they gnashed those ruthless jaws and fangs, they closed in around Ronove. Oh! Ronove's foot hit something, and he stumbled. The same instant, several massive arms reached out and lifted him up.
Ronove-sama! What are you doing, Chester? Shoot them!
If that'd do anything, we would have done it already, yeah.
Everyone, please stand back. I should be able to buy you some time as they savor my flesh. However, I think they'll find that Ronove has quite a few little bones in him. An elbow ran itself into the massive, hideous jaws that were trying to chew Ronove's head. Of course, the goat did moan, but that did nothing but deprive just one goat of its right to the first bite of Ronove's head. Many jaws opened wide, trying to crush him and throw him down into those heartless stomachs, which would permit no cheerful illusions to exist.
I won't accept fantasy. Won't accept. It's possible to explain everything with mystery. It's possible. Fantasy is fake. Everything is mystery.
All the many arms that lifted Ronove up were sliced off. Seven sisters used this chance to fly forward and grab Ronove, dragging him back.
Which of you misguided fuckers just mentioned mystery?
Does Lanor's blade work on them? I see. If our foes are calling it a mystery.
Blood-red longsword in hand, Delanor slowly walked forward. Behind her walked Will, tapping his back with his black blade.
If you don't think this is a fantasy, then let's have your theories.
I cannot wait to hear some of your
explanations.
The crowd of goats stepped back. Though they had been so vicious against the illusions, they stepped back when faced with this pair wielding swords of mystery.
There have been a great many closed-room murders on this game board.
Choose whichever you please, and we will parry all of your
attacks.
No, we don't have to defend anything.
Indeed.
The purpose of a mystery is to offer a
Challenge.
There's no need for us to play
Defense.
Do you get it yet? You're the ones in the hot seat now.
Blue truth cut the goats apart. That blue truth dwelt within each and every one of the riddles from Beto's games so far. What about the closed room with the chain, first game, second twilight? What about the closed room with the chapel, second game, first twilight? What about the trick to killing Nanjo, third game, ninth twilight? There was no end to the blades.
Teleports behind you.
Nothing personnel, kid.
I love how they animated teleports behind you in this.
It's so good! Doesn't look back at the explosion. Hell yeah. The countless riddles Beatrice had left behind became blades, challenges that tore the goats apart. If they wanted to deny fantasy, they would have to make a counter-argument. They would have to deal with every single trick as a mystery. However, while most of the goats called themselves anti-fantasy, they hadn't thought up any answers for the mystery. Though every now and then, goats with answers did appear. And someone outside the Ushiromiya family was hiding on the island. And Nox is first. It is forbidden for the culprit to be anyone not mentioned in the early part of the
Story.
There were multiple culprits all working separately, and it just happened to look like a single culprit.
Van Dien's 12th. Must be but one true culprit.
You mean everything but that is forbidden?
Boring, right? To have a genre like that? Personally, I think mystery should be more flexible, but that's just me.
The 10 Nox commandments and the 20 Van Dien rules are behind the times. The definition of the mystery genre should change with the era.
Duh. And now they get all uppity about it.
Perhaps we are behind the
Times.
In that case, let's see if you have any theories that can satisfy us.
Come.
The whole crowd of goats charged them. In their fangs, each of them carried theories to crush Beto's closed rooms. The bodies of the goats differed from those who had become corpses so easily. They had mystery-style answers to several closed rooms, so it would take several blade hits to give them a fatal wound. However, Beto had left many blades behind. All of them were exceedingly sharp. So the pair of inquisitors didn't think this would be a desperate battle. This is mystery, after all. The goal is to use all your imagination and knowledge to challenge each of the riddles head-on. Doing so is the greatest pleasure of the mystery genre. And so they laughed. Both Will and Lanor laughed, with smiles of admiration at the theories the goats had put everything they had into. They countered with blades from all the closed rooms. The crowd of goats was no longer an encirclement, but a great wave threatening to swallow the pair up. Yet the pair repelled the enemy without giving an inch. They resisted firmly, cutting through the wave of the wailing goats. It was like an ice-breaking ship knocking a path through a frozen sea.
They entered the closed room through a hidden passage that no one else could use, and
Nox is third. It is forbidden for hidden passages to
Exist.
after the hidden passage was used, it was welded shut and became unusable, so no hidden passages existed at the time of inspection.
Nox is eighth. It is forbidden for the case to be resolved with clues that are not
Presented.
These are all fake murders. No one is actually dead, so all closed rooms were constructed by the so-called victims.
What? Lanor hesitated for just an instant. After all, this cliched and simple theory managed to get around both Beato's closed room and the Nox commandments. Lanor saw nothingness inside the goat's massive jaws.
Nah. Don't worry, boss, I got you. Van Dien's 7th. It's forbidden to have a crime without a corpse.
The goat's jaws seemed to close around Delanor's head. However, the upper and lower jaws were no longer connected, so the upper half merely slid off to the side.
Guess even the great Nox forgot to forbid fake murders, huh?
There are many splendid mysteries besides
Murder.
The goats weren't about to back off and let the pair have a nice long chat about the mystery genre. The next massive figure immediately enveloped them. Will's blade drew a diagonal slash across its chest, but only cut through its clothes, leaving no wound.
Huh? Oh, the 20 wedges don't work on this one, huh?
Delanor also hit it with her longsword, but still it just cut its clothes without leaving a mark on its body. Could this goat have a theory that doesn't violate Nox or Van Dien? Nox and Van Dien are meaningless. All of the closed rooms can be explained by a single solution. After all. In an attempt to stop the goat from saying any more, Will and Delanor hit it with blades from every closed room, as well as stakes from the 10 Commandments and the 20 Rules, but none of them have any effect. What was it going to say? Slowly the goat clenched its massive fists together and raised them up high. After all.
You're my wonder wall.
Will.
You're my motherfucking Wonderwall, goat.
The roar, Will slammed into the giant goat with its body. Though its massive bulk bent back slightly, Will was still leaping into the death trap. However, if he hadn't done so, he wouldn't have been able to protect Delanor. The goat grabbed Will, lifted him up and held him high in the air, like a little kid showing off his favorite toy and waving it around.
Let's hear your theory then. I'm gonna hear a great theory before I die. It'll be a fitting end for a right.
Van Dien are useless for making theories.
The goat's massive hands closed on Will like a vise. All the bones in Will's body were creaking.
Let's hear your theory then.
There is no need for a theory.
What?
After all, making theories for any of Beatrice's games is a waste of time.
What do you mean?
This isn't an orthodox mystery, so thinking about it is just a waste of time. I won't accept Beatrice's game as a mystery. There are no answers to the tricks. It's all just an illusion. Nah.
I'm sorry, did you just say thinking is a waste of time?
Nah.
I'm sorry, but I refuse to die for something as stupid as that.
Will's head was lowered, so his face couldn't be seen. However, the arm of the goat holding him was shaking. The embrace of those long-sized arms with superhuman strength was being slowly pushed away by Will's shaking arms.
Did you just say that thinking is a waste of time? You say that, and you call yourself a mystery novel reader?
Nah.
Mystery genre is like chivalry. You fight with the noble rules you created, with pride in the stance that you've taken. Is it worth being a coward if it'll help you win? Does losing make the whole fight meaningless if you fought with everything you had? This is about winning and losing, you dumb goat. It's about plotting the will to fight, even the most dire circumstances.
Nah.
Goat's arms were now spread wide, and it looked as though Will was now the one pushing it back. Will's face was covered in shadow and couldn't be seen.
People like you, who call themselves mystery readers even though they never even try to solve mysteries. You're the ones I really can't stand.
Will slammed his forehead into the goat's now unprotected head.
If you call yourself a mystery reader, be proud to join in on a battle of wits. If you call yourself a mystery reader, it's about time that you realized giving up is nothing to brag about.
Ryukishi, how you feeling there, buddy? Will hit it with his head over and over again. His forehead had been torn apart by the goat's fangs, but he kept hitting it. Van Dien and Nox may be behind the times. The mystery genre does progress with time, just like the world around it. However, there's one thing that never changes. And that is pride. What is the knight proud of? Not victory. He's proud of his courage, which lets him stand up to anyone without fear. Will couldn't forgive the kind of coward who could turn tail from a fight then brag about it. People who call themselves mystery readers but who have no pride are the only people Will just cannot stand. The goat, unable to put up with this anymore, threw Will down to the floor. And he lifted his fists again and determined to crush Will to pieces this time.
Come at me. You probably will beat me to a pulp, but there'll be no victory for you. Destroy your own pride with your own hands.
Pointless. This is no mystery, so why make theories? Thinking is just a waste of time. Useless. Die.
A fist like a cannonball swinging down towards him was the very last thing Will saw before he shut his eyes.
In this game, if you stop thinking...
Oh, nope.
Oh, in this game, if you stop thinking... In this game, if you give up, that means that you lose, right?
Battler smashed his fist into the goat's mouth and smashed teeth bounced off the ceiling.
Battler-sama. Oh, who the fuck? Battler-sama.
Stop thinking. It means you've given up on the story being a mystery. Which means, as far as you're concerned, this game is a fantasy.
Battler lifted up his arm. Realizing this was a signal, Lucifer and Chester double O jumped.
If you stop thinking, you don't deserve to be an actor on the stage. Stop trying to sound smart and go eat some popcorn for the stands or something.
The goat lifted his fist again and swung it down at Battler like a hammer.
if you surrender to fantasy.
That just makes you another target, yeah. It's the same as acknowledging that we exist. Begin recognition of hostile elements. Mark all targets vulnerable to magical attacks in our HMDs.
Kids who surrender to fantasy get to deal with us, after all.
And if you have a theory, we will hear it
Out.
We welcome those people with open arms, after all. Ugh, got goat spittle on my face. Ugh. Out of respect for them, we won't hold anything back.
Oh, but it would seem that this is Battler Sama's moment to shine, isn't it?
Oh, well, I like to list all your favorite theories, both mystery and fantasy. This isn't your game right now. No matter how much you future fragments try to deny us, this is no time to be defeated.
Golden glint gathered in Battler's hand. It was so bright that the whole hall was bathed in gold. Golden butterflies flitted about as though the whole room was being swallowed up by the golden land. Battler lifted his golden longsword high.
Feel free to challenge Beto's game as a mystery or fantasy. I welcome it. But I'm not going to let you deny this final game of mine. Feel the shame of your indiscretion, of impugning on the honor of those who have passed away.
A slice of the golden longsword flooded the hall with a sea of golden light. Then the whole group of goats clambering about the hall turned into clouds of gold butterflies and scattered. Even so, only about 100 of them had been wiped out. But before long, the massive crowds of goats outside would probably come pouring in.
The seal Gertrude and the others are working on will be finished in a bit. Sorry, but I'll have to ask you to hold out here a little longer.
Of course, Lord Battler. Otherwise, we wouldn't get to show off.
You know, you two could try fighting just a little bit.
But we're just the MCs.
I don't think you could fight with gender powers yet, can you? Can you? Let me think on that.
Their exceedingly blunt refusal drew a few strained smiles. However, it had lessened the tension behind the room just a bit.
Battler Sama, leave this to us.
We won't allow the erosion to proceed any further. And not one of us will be left behind.
Of
Course.
We are all precious pieces on Lord
Battler's
game.
board.
The Seven Sisters of Purgatory, the Chester Sisters Corps, and everyone else nodded forcefully.
Oh yeah, I'm counting on all of you. We'll definitely protect this final game I made for Angie. Oh, they're managing to hold their ground down below.
The door to the Golden Land continues to open slowly. It will still take some time, though.
That's right. We'd better start buying some time ourselves.
The sea of goats that covered the ground below them was jostling about more and more. By now, even the sea surrounding the island had disappeared. The horizon was gone, and Chewed Up Island was now floating on an eerie emptiness like space. The ghosts that had flooded the edges of Rokkenjima seemed to be spilling off the sides.
Looks like that's it for this game board.
As long as there's a game master in pieces, the game board can always be laid out again. As long as you have two people together, you can create any sort of game.
That's true. But where on earth is Angie?
Where did you hide that?
Oh, that's right, in the chapel. What's happened to the chapel?
It's still there.
The chapel looked like a white building floating in the pitch-black sea of goats. Yes, this was strange. There was no way those goats who consumed everything would go out of their way to avoid just the chapel.
That's where Angie is.
Outside the chapel was a sea of goats. Very soon the earth around the chapel would be eaten away, and it would probably end up floating on nothingness. The rampage of the goats as they devoured everything and recited the tragedies they had imagined was truly making a lot of noise. However, none of that reached inside the chapel. Angie finally broke the magic seal on the entrance and stepped inside. The seal was supposed to be unbreakable by anyone. However, in the face of Angie Beatrice, Witch of Truth, the one who sought the truth and could sweep aside all forces that prevented her from finding it, no barrier was absolute.
There it is.
A single book, tightly locked, rested on the altar. It was the hidden diary that Ushiromiya Eva had continued to write in even in her later years. The Book of the Single Truth. It was the one Featherina had shown her in the world in 1998.
This time, I have the key. I gripped the gold key that sat in my pocket, the key Oni-chan gave me. As I approached the altar, I saw that the Book of the Single Truth was wrapped in a strange bending of the light. So, this is that seal of the Game Master that Berncastle talked about. The Book of the Single Truth was sealed in something like a crystal. It was a seal made by the Game Master's authority. This was on a different level than the breakable magic seal on the chapel door. No matter how much I, Angie, used my power as a witch of truth, this couldn't be broken by anyone except the Game Master.
You can still, I think it's still fine to narrate that in her voice.
However, this time, Battler wasn't the only Game Master. So sorry, Oni-chan. Berncastle is a Game Master too. I just need to take this to her and have her break the seal.
Angie slowly approached the altar.
Will Angie really do as you say?
This is my little sister. This is my little sister we're talking about, so yeah, probably not.
Then what will we do?
Looks like we got nothing to do but go on brute force. At that moment, a fierce impact hit the pair of them. Beato was flung away and Battler was sealed inside a massive crystal extended up to the heavens. Oh, god damn it, what the hell is this?
Battler, what is this?
It was a barrier, a massive cage of crystal. Battler was shut inside a crystal cage like a tower, so large that you had to look up to see the top. Beato, I need you to take care of Angie, please.
What will you do? Can you break free from this all by yourself from the inside? Is this a closed room barrier? Who could have...
There's only one person who challenged me with a closed room. Looks like our final guest has finally arrived.
You don't mean...
Go on and take care of Angie. Beato left Battler to handle this on his own and headed for the chapel. Battler took a deep breath and smiled daringly. I've been waiting for you. Was it boring in that depths of oblivion place? The answer was a laugh. Yeah, that's right. That laugh is enough. Looks like you're doing well.
It wasn't boring. After all, I believed.
I'll bet that you did. I believed too. Shing! Wardrobe change. Battler flung off the cape of the territory lord. It would only get in the way, and it would be a rude way to welcome his final guest.
Those dark depths were the perfect place to think up mysteries I could fight you with when we met again.
So this crystal ring is the cage for our duel. A chain deathmatch with nowhere to run, huh?
Now that you mention it, we're always fighting over closed rooms with chains, aren't we?
Then let's use that. Make it a real chain deathmatch.
I'm prepared. But what about you?
I am. I told you, didn't I? I believed too. At the same time, they both brandished their mysteries, sealing the other in a chained closed room. Come, Furudo, Erica!
Entertain me, Battler-san.
At the same time, they were both sealed inside a closed room locked with a chain. Of course, it was easy to set and unset the chain from the inside. However, stepping into their opponent's chained room would be difficult. They're fighting to the death with two chained closed rooms at once. There could be no better closed room duel for these two, who had battled with theories concerning chained rooms so often. Furudo Erica committed suicide, died in an accident, died of illness, died by some reason other than homicide.
It wasn't a suicide. It wasn't an accidental death. And it wasn't death by illness. I really was killed by you, Battler-san.
It was a murder committed by slipping poison gas through the crack of the door, by filling the room with water and drowning you, by sucking out the oxygen of the room and making you suffocate.
There was no poison gas. There was no drowning. There was no death by suffocation. A closed room murder by poison gas? Death by drowning, suffocation?
Crazy, right? It's funny, isn't it?
Good. Ushiromi Battler committed suicide. He died in an accident. He was killed by an illness. Time for me to test your closed room.
Oh, red truth. Ushiromi Battler was stabbed to death. Let's say the weapon was a knife, stuck it right into his back.
Good. Nothing beats a classic closed room after all.
Well, then why don't you try it too?
I'll take that challenge with the red truth. Furudo Erica was stabbed to death. The weapon was a knife, stuck right into her back.
Well, interesting. I'll tell your closed room to bits. Fucking nerds. Fucking nerds. That's how you get Battler out of their way, is just to give, like, you nerd snipe him.
Yeah, it's the dumbest nerd fight. They're both like, oh, we're gonna fight a duel. The most climactic duel. Immediately locks themselves in separate closed
Those
rooms
rooms
and gets
dead.
stabbed. Haha! What are you gonna do about that? I died more effectively than you did.
Oh my god.
What's this supposed to be? Oh. Oh yeah, that was me. Battler is busy at the moment. For now, I shall be your opponent.
Beato had sealed the chapel with it. Oh, you want to narrate this part?
Beato had sealed the chapel with a closed room barrier. Unless that riddle was smashed with blue truth, Angie wouldn't be able to leave. After shrugging impatiently, Angie finally faced Beato. This might be the first time I've fought you directly. Oh, is it now? Very well, let's see what you've got. However, Battler isn't here at the moment. When he's not around, I sometimes forget to hold back. What a coincidence, I feel the same. I killed you inside a perfect closed room, with windows, doors, and all other methods of entry or exit blocked. Okay, I'll play along with your game. Repeat it. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nerd Snipe Battle.
Nerd Snipe Battle. Nerd Snipe Battle. Please stop frantically pointing at the My Bloody Valentine Trombone Hero video.
How could I do anything but?
Trombone shoegaze sounds
Incredible.
awful.
Oh my god.
Shoegaze already sounds like someone is like taking a drill to the inside of your forehead. I say that lovingly, but that's what it sounds like.
I want shoegaze with a full horn section.
Isn't that just like kind of Godspeed a little bit? They do some stuff.
Interesting thought.
Yeah. They do because
They've
some
got
of the,
droney guitar music and loudness
and some of it does incorporate like brass instruments.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the Trombone Hero cover will work. It will sound as good as Godspeed.
All right, moving on. Moving briskly along. Oh, hey. We're in the real world now. Ish. And then, you see, we'll set it up so that among the works entered in Company X's mystery novel Oh, I don't think this is her. I don't know who this is. I'm just going to go with
And then you see, we'll set it up so that among the works entered in Company X's mystery novel contest, yet another one of the great Hachijo's works will appear under a false name.
Yeah, of course. Then we'll move on with a movie version of TV drama bundle in. We here at Company X would be honored to accept your manuscript.
Am I getting any prize money out of this?
Yeah, but of course, lady. The 10 million yen prize for Company X's first mystery novel contest will all go to you. And much more besides.
What the fuck is happening here?
A book deal.
Splendid. You've caught my interest. And that's why I decided not to write up a manuscript for you.
Yeah, what? Madam Hachijo, why?
Everything had seemed to be going so smoothly up until then, so the sudden refusal made the people from the publishing company fall over in their sofa. This little scheme of yours is far more interesting than the manuscript I wrote. In that case, it wouldn't be fitting to hand it over to you. It was always a worthless story. I wanted to lure my ignorant readers into lauding it, to make them feel as though they'd performed some magnificent reasoning. I was hoping that you children of men would recognize the irony and laugh at your own mistake, but it looks like you've taken it seriously. Yes, I can say I'm ashamed at my own failure as a writer.
Oh my fucking god. You nerd.
Wow, the balls on this lady here.
Yeah, well, of course not. Please forgive us. Please let us use your...
I have no need for money. Really?
Interesting.
Really? That's good. That's good for you. That's good for you, Hachijo. but some pet food would be nice.
Pet food? Oh, for your cat.
God damn it. Burn is based off her cat.
There was a rumor you had a cat who liked dried plums. Yeah, as you wish. Quickly, let's have a high quality assortment of dried plums brought in here.
She only eats ones that are packaged separately at 200 yen apiece.
Can cats eat plums? Is that fine?
I don't know. At this rate, she'll die of high blood pressure.
I'll Google that real quick while you're handling all the voices.
Yeah, I don't know why I did this to myself. She snacks on kimchi and spicy miso all the time as well. Really, there must be something wrong with that cat's tongue. Beep. The cat meowed in objection from where it lay on top of the bookshelf. I cannot give you this manuscript, but why don't I write up a new one for your company's contest? However, I won't write it under my name. It's estimated that thousands of manuscripts will be sent in for your contest. If you manage to pick mine out from the pack and you also find it deserving of the prize, I would be happy to continue our discussion just now. How does that sound?
Just the honor of receiving your manuscript is more than enough.
You people truly are amusing, fawning and cringing all the time. But I've grown weary of this for today. Leave now. Meeting with children of men can be so tiring.
Yeah. We're deeply grateful for your kindness in allowing us this meeting.
Plums are not good for cats.
Well, Burn is a little different, isn't she? A servant guided the people from the publishing company to the door. In the study that was now finally quiet, Hashijo Tohya let out a sigh, slumped down in the sofa, and gazed at the ceiling. It is tiring, but the stimulation of talking with a child of man isn't such a bad thing, in small doses. Do you want to be whoever this servant is?
It's good for you to talk to people every now and then. You'll go senile if you stay shut in all the time.
The black cat leapt from the bookshelf and landed softly on the carpet. Oh. Then its form silently twisted and became that of Burncastle. Indeed. They can certainly be quite entertaining. Inviting them over now and then may go a long way towards alleviating my boredom. At any rate, I think I will write that manuscript. When I feel like it. It sounds like they'll even bring a gift for you. What is all this about pet food? How rude. Well, that's what it is. Here you go. Hachijo picked up a jar from his shelf, then took a dried plum out and threw it into the air. In an instant, Burncastle turned back into a black cat, caught it in midair, and started munching away. I think this is the,
This is almost certainly going to be... Wait.
The servant that she has?
Oh, Madam Hachijo, your guests have departed.
A servant knocked on the door before making this announcement. Thank you. Let me know if that one wakes up.
As you wish. Would you like some tea?
No. I'm going to write for a bit. Please do not disturb me.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Waiting for the servant's footsteps to disappear into the distance, Hashijo moved to her desk. The desk certainly looked as though it belonged to a great writer, with pages of a manuscript scattered across it. Probably the servant. Oh, or is this Burn? No, this is probably Burn. Even though the century is almost over, you still write with a pen? The black cat spoke as it tore the dried plum apart with its mouth. Tales are to be written with ink. To me, that is an unbreakable rule. So you write it once with ink, then type the whole thing over again with a keyboard? Pretty stupid doing the same thing twice. Not really. Often when I'm drafting a piece of writing, I'll wind up doing a draft, like one of the final drafts will be just to rewrite the entire thing a second time. Because in doing that, you have to rethink how every single line sounds and feels.
Yep.
And you catch a lot of things that way that you wouldn't catch if you're just staring at the same document over and over. In that case, why does a child of man drop a tale in their mind, then split the whole thing out again on a keyboard? How foolish of them not to do the same thing twice. Look at it that way, and you're doing the same thing 3 times. That was a good one. Even as Hashijo laughed, her fountain pen was already sliding across the page. Beautiful letters appeared almost as fast and proficiently as a typewriter. Only humans called her creations manuscripts. With her fountain pen and writing paper, she was creating a world. And as she did, the hands of the clock would spin around like a top. The light and shadows that came in through the window changed their angle so fast that they might have been the hands of a clock themselves. Yeah, that clock's called a sundial. That's what it is. Slowly, she drew a large X across the tightly packed words on the paper. Having trouble. I can't draw it out well. Writing a manuscript to please people truly is a pain. After all, I don't usually write for other people to read. You should try writing down whatever it is you're saying on that manuscript paper. Berncastle curled up on the sofa, a mocking smile on her face. Normally, whenever Hashijo was writing, Berncastle would never let herself be noticed, much less talk to her. However, Bernie realized that the other was apparently getting bored with her manuscript, so she yawned and started talking. What is it you're writing, anyway? It is a tale to give to a child of man. Which child of man, though? It is a tale I promised to write for Umineko, who once read for me. Oh, you're still writing that, are you? This sounds like she's talking about Angie in the past tense. Right?
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
doesn't it, in the past tense, in the sense that whatever event occurred in the past, I don't know what that says about Angie, if anything.
Yeah, because we're still super unclear about Angie being alive or dead. Like whether or not she died in the shootout on Rokkenjima or she died throwing herself off a building, right? It's still super unclear. Unless we missed something. God. I can't think of anything to write that would give her satisfaction. Looks like I was giving up yet again. You always promise to write a story, then get stuck before you're finished and just give up. If I had given up, I wouldn't be worrying over it like this. Well, there's only one tale that Angie's wanted from the beginning, isn't there? The tale of the single truth. Angie said she wanted to know what happened that day. No matter how many tales you write distorting the truth, she'll never be satisfied. And yet I do not think my tales are far more interesting than the single truth. And yet I do think my tales are far more interesting than the single truth. Angie doesn't want to read an interesting tale. I did promise that child of man that I would write a tale for her sake. So I'm writing a tale now to please her. No matter how interesting or uninteresting it is, everything you write is an illusion. Angie doesn't want any of that. Haven't you figured that out yet? So it is... It's still... Yeah, she's the one still writing even the board for Battlers, explicitly the game master. The Book of the Single Truth was written by Ushiromiya Eva. Hidden amongst the pile of writing paper was Eva's diary. Furthermore, the one who wrote this passed away without revealing it to anyone. Being the humble writer that I am, I would like to respect that. Don't make me laugh. It's coming from the person who entertains herself by taking a tale and tearing at its guts. The truth is uninteresting. Is that your opinion after tearing apart the guts of so many tales? You might as well say that. With a self-mocking laugh, Hashijo set down her fountain pen. I certainly have aged. The first thing age taught me was that not knowing is more precious than knowing. That definitely sounds like something an old person would say, but I'll bite. What do you mean by that? Knowing and not knowing. These two things have a one-way relationship. Okay, true. It's possible to switch from not knowing to knowing, but you can't do it the other way around. When I realized that, I saw the noble purity and resembling virginity that exists in not knowing. In my attempts to escape boredom, I've torn apart and eaten the guts of as many games and tales as there are stars in the sky. But always my relief from boredom is short-lived. It's also fleeting that I've started to ignore each tale as an individual story. That's right. If you eat a cat, then you only get to enjoy it for one night, but if you let it live, it might start calling you names and getting sarcastic. I like this bird. I like Ashijo's version of burn.
Indeed. Even the annoying way they break into your sweets cupboard or sneak into your bed can be a part of their charm. Hashijo looked around at the books covering every square inch of the room, then softly petted the cat's back. I might have been able to enjoy a single tale much longer and more deeply, as I've eaten my way through countless tales to escape boredom. I haven't really been eating them. I have just been killing them. And in the end, they'll kill me back. Hashijo laughed with self-derision. Even in Beato's game, you tried to tear the guts out. I just wanted to check my answers. I did try to do it in a way that respected Beatrice, the weaver of this tale. Yeah, I think it was pretty well read, all done so that people who didn't understand wouldn't figure it out. Will it make for a better tale if Angie learns the truth, or if she doesn't? To be honest, I don't know anymore. So Angie is a part of the tale to her. Which makes it seem like she is indeed. So fully aware that you'll scorn me for it, I've decided to stop writing the rest of this tale. What? What do you mean? I won't write it. I will merely record it. The tale that Ushiromiya Angie weaves herself. So, you're gonna do that sort of thing again? After growing tired of 1,000 years of life, I've decided that choosing not to know the truth is the more noble path. However, I now see that it isn't fair to force my opinion on Angie, who hasn't lived even 100 years. So you're gonna leave it in Angie's care, is that it? Yes. I will silently record it as it plays out. Well, if you're leaving it to Angie, then the rest of this tale is pretty much set in stone, right? So it would seem. Let it be so. After all, in the end, a tale that a child of man weaves for herself will be more fun than any story I could create. In that case, why don't you lend a hand at Angie's tale? You've already given yourself a role in it, haven't you? So it is my role to bring this tale to its conclusion. Come on, that is no way for someone in Beato's game to talk. It's your job to tear the guts out of the cat box, isn't it? Hashijo chuckled, pushed aside the pile of writing paper, and picked up the Book of the Single Truth. Then she opened a locked drawer. That is what Angie desires. Perhaps this book's seal is fated to be broken. Angie will reach the single truth. The single truth will break the seal on the cat box, and everything will then be exposed to the light of day. And so all those countless message bottles and fragments made up of delightful imaginings, which have been scattered across the ocean of the internet, will fade away like foam on the sea. After all, even that person is surely tired of such fragments. It's about time for that kid's journey to end, too. Yes, let us accept this task. As our role demands, let us give this journey an end of the line. At that moment, there were sounds of someone in the hallway. The instant someone knocked on the door, Berncastle turned back into a black cat.
Madam Hachijo, please forgive me for interrupting.
It was the voice of Hachijo's servant.
What is it? It's a phone call. Tell them I'm busy.
It isn't that. Tohya-sama has woken up.
What?
What? What? She's Tohya.
What?
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 Thank you. Prepare a light meal. Enough for the two of us.
As you wish.
Hashijo stood up. They're only calling her Hashijo. Then she shut the open drawer, and locked it again. Inside that drawer lay a glittering golden key.
Repeat it. The definition of a closed room prevents all varieties of entering and exiting.
I refuse. By definition, it's impossible for a closed room murder to take place inside a perfect closed room.
The tea might have been repaired after it was destroyed. The door might have been repaired after it was destroyed. The wall might have been repaired after it was destroyed.
My closed room doesn't involve anything being repaired. Goddamn rat.
Good. This is really getting fun, Battler-san.
Oh, sorry, but I don't have time to play with you right now.
I'm sorry too, but as a fellow witch of truth, I can't let you get in Angie-san's way.
Come to think of it, you're a witch of truth too, aren't you? I guess that makes you a sort of mentor to Angie.
The single truth. It is the supreme, the ultimate. Only a witch of truth can break down all barriers that stand between her and that truth.
Is this single truth of yours really so important? There are lots of things in this world that aren't worth knowing.
Yeah, Battler's basically talking like Hashijo.
How important is 1986 to Angie, really? It isn't important at all.
You're probably right. No matter what happened or didn't happen in 1986, it won't change anything for the Angie living in 1998. There's no point in learning that truth. However, there is just one thing that will change.
And what's that?
How she lives.
Erica transformed her reasoning into a scythe's blade and lashed out at Battler over and over. Battler also created a blade from his reasoning and attacked Erica over and over. In the middle of all this, he questioned Erica, the girl who, like Angie, called herself a witch of truth. Just what is the point of exposing the truth?
You're right. Knowing often changes how a person lives her life. In that case, I have one hope as her blood relative. I hope that at the end of my game, Angie finds a better way to live her life.
Knowing may change how people live, but not always in a good direction. There are plenty of things in this world that you'd be more comfortable not knowing, right?
The number of chicks living in the seats on a train, for one. Those urban legends about nasty stuff in the tap water. The world's full of things you'd be better off not knowing. Like face bites. I don't want to know about those. The Book of the Single Truth could probably teach Angie what happened on this island, but what's the point of her knowing that? It'll just increase the sadness she's felt for 12 years. How many more years will it take for her mind to find happiness as an ordinary girl? How many years will it take for her wounds to be healed? Angie's desire to find the truth is hurting her, regardless of what the truth actually is. Though her wounds were slow to heal, they did begin to do so. Though her deep wounds were slow to heal, they did begin to do so during those 12 years. However, Angie kept picking at those scabs. In her search for the truth, she tore at those wounds herself, opening them up once more. It's time for Angie to be free of the sadness of 1986. That's what all of us Ushiromias pray for.
Who cares about that? The truth is everything. The truth is justice.
It's a disease everyone gets at least once, usually in middle school. They just love to find out all those things adults are hiding.
But don't you think it's fun to expose things like that?
Yeah, totally. Reading dirty books wouldn't be nearly so fun if you didn't have to do it in secret, right? Smirk face.
I deny all of your blue wedges with the red truth. None of the methods you suggest could defeat my closed room.
Angie was breathing heavily. The Book of the Single Truth was right before her eyes. If she could just defeat Beato, she'd be able to take the book to Burn Castle and then she could read what was inside. Even though the truth of the final family conference on October 4th and 5th, 1986 was right there, the Golden Witch stood in her way. Her anger and hatred spun around inside her head, wiping out the composure necessary to theory making. Angie shook her head several times, clearing away everything that got in the way of calming her mind. However, no matter how many times she thought it through, the closed room sealing her in the chapel was perfect. Angie wasn't particularly familiar with the mystery genre. However, she knew all about the fragments containing Beato's games so far. Her knowledge was shallow, but it still should have been enough to give her a good foothold. However, no matter how many blue truths she shot at Beato, none of them even made the witch flinch. Beato just blew them apart with the red truth in an elegant wave of her pipe.
It's about time you gave up. I don't even view this as a game between the two of us. Are you implying that I could never solve this puzzle? I'm just buying time until Battler finishes dealing with Erica. He's the only one who can bring you to your senses. Bring me to my senses? You're the ones making me do this by hiding the single truth. That's why I'm fighting you. This is my right. As the final member of the Ushiromiya family, I have a right to know the truth. Indeed, and that is the purpose of this final game. That's right. Without this final game, I wouldn't have been given a chance to reach the truth. At least for that one thing, I'm grateful. But as for what happened in 1986, as for who took your relatives and your family away from you, as a human, your desire to know the truth is quite natural. However, even knowing this, Battler decided that it would be best if you didn't return to 1986. I know what Oni-chan's trying to say. He's telling me to look to the future and live instead of being stuck in the past, right? Correct. Battler wanted to use this final game to show you that. In that case, there's no need to keep waiting for my answer. The answer is no, Golden Witch. I died back in 1986. I've wandered about like a ghost for 12 years since then. And when Aunt Ava died, I lost my only reason to stick around on this earth as a ghost. That's why I decided to do one last thing before ending my life. And that thing is learning the truth of 1986? Yeah, got a problem with that? Of course I do, you foolish girl. So, if you do reach the truth, you'll die. In that case, I can't let you have it. I must trick you and blind you as much as I can, to keep you alive. Battler wants you to live. Living without truth is no better than dying. I'm trying to find the truth so I can live. You just admitted that you were searching for the truth so you could die. Yeah, that's right. Then let me rephrase that. I'm trying to find the truth so I can die. I offered up my life when I made my contract with Burncastle. Also, I could learn what happened that day. That single truth will be the souvenir I take with me to hell. It's useless. You cannot break this closed room. This closed room is perfect. And yet, I will kill you in this closed room.
She had tried every theory, idea, and every bit of nonsense she could think of. However, none of it had any effect on Beato. Powerless and frustrated with the book of the single truth right before her eyes, Angie bit her lower lip.
At first, this was supposed to be a game in which you were given a key that would let you decide your future. Oh, that was Beato. Liar, you wanted to hide the truth in this chapel, then make me choose a door that leads to some optimistic future. That's not a choice. You're trying to decide for me. Parents have the right to prevent their children from making unsuitable choices. I'm not a kid. I'm an 18-year-old woman who can think and act for herself. Fool, you're just a 6-year-old girl who can't think of anything except the past. And whose fault is that? Because of you, I've been stuck as a 6-year-old all this time. Now it's time for me to tear apart your illusion covering the truth. Yes, now that I think about it, it's not this chapel that you've locked me inside. Since that day in 1986, for all these years, you've had me locked away in a closed room where I'm all alone and where no one will tell me the truth. And now, I'll tear your closed room apart with my own hands. Yeah, it's useless. It's all useless. I know the trick to your perfect closed room. Repeat it. You murdered me immediately after shutting me into this closed room. I refuse. Of course, you've been killing me for 18 years. Thanks, Beatrice. If you hadn't reminded me, I wouldn't have figured out the trick. Angie, you are young and you have a long future ahead of you. In fact, you are the Golden Witch who lives in the future, are you not? Then live on in the future. Just how much are past truths really worth? Don't they pale in comparison to the truth of the future? The truth you'll create yourself? My life is trash. My whole family died, leaving just me behind. That's why I'm going back to them once I've gotten my single truth. If you learn the truth, you'll just have to accept your family's deaths. Haven't you ever thought about living on, hoping that by some miracle one of them might have survived? And that someday you might get a chance to see them again? I am not worried about that. Even the Witch of Miracles couldn't find a fragment like that.
Oh, okay.
In the Great Rokkenjima explosion, almost none of the family's remains were recovered.
Oh, some days I hope that this might be a sign that they had escaped the explosion and survived. That hope gave me the strength to live on. However, that hope wasn't strong enough to support me for 12 long years. So, even though I wanted to know the truth, I unconsciously averted my eyes. I felt that learning of my family's deaths for certain would force me to deny any possibility of someone miraculously surviving. But I'm tired of living on and on with nothing but that impossible hope of a miracle to keep me going. That's why I decided to accept my family's deaths. I decided to accept the truth, no matter what it is. That's why I became a Witch of Truth. How foolish to be blinded by the truth of the past and unable to see one's own future. Forgive me, Battler, I was not strong enough to guide your sister properly.
A blazing blue wedge appeared in Angie's hand. It was long, thick, and shaped like a spear.
This is the end, Witch of 1986. This closed room is perfect. Therefore, I can't get out, and you can't lay a finger on me from the outside. However, you locked me into this room, so we can say you killed me with this simple trick. You shut me in this perfect closed room and made me starve to death. Since you intentionally did this, it's totally fair to say this is a closed room murder with you as the killer. It looks like being overly vague with the cause of death backfired on you. So long, Witch of Illusions. See you in hell.
The stained glass window behind her, Beato spread her arms and let the spear Blue Truth pierce her. The blue spear seemed to crucify Beato against the window.
Game set. So, this is Anteva's diary, the Book of the Single Truth.
Angie picked the book up from where it lay on the altar, sealed in crystal.
If you read that, then by your contract with Burncastle, you will die. Learning the truth just to die? Ridiculous. That's right, I'm looking for the truth so I can die. At least let me choose how I go. I'm not an idiot. I know the real me is still floating in that starry sky. Burncastle acknowledged me as the final Beatrice and invited me on a journey to learn the truth of 1986. I won't be able to return here again. When Burncastle told me that and walked off the roof into the black sky, I followed her into the empty air. That was the contract. I wanted two things from Burncastle. One was for someone from my family to come back. The other was revenge. I wanted to destroy the illusion of the witch that hid the events of that day. I wanted to reach the truth. However, the first of my wishes couldn't come true. After all, even the Witch of Miracles couldn't find a fragment where my family came home. So she wordlessly questioned me. She told me that I couldn't reach the truth unless I had the courage to end this worthless life, where I lived like a ghost, hoping someone might come back. So she walked out into the open air, and I followed her. Yes, now I can understand. When I offered to trade away my life, I made one wish and gave up on another. I wished for revenge against the illusion hiding the truth. And now I've succeeded in that revenge, defeating the master of that illusion and obtaining the Book of the Single Truth. What I gave up was my naivety, my continuing belief that someone from my family might come back. And now, I can accept that my entire family is dead. Can you make someone alive just because no one knows any different? These cat boxes you talk about are just naive delusions. The idea that a corpse can live as long as you keep it hidden? But even if you hide a corpse, it's still dead. Do you really think you can heal my wounds by saying they'll always be watching over me from the clouds, like some kind of fairy tale? I'm Angie Beatrice, a witch of truth. I'll free myself from that life as a ghost, waiting for a miracle that'll never happen. I'll end my life as a noble martyr who's reached the truth. Didn't you once come to understand the power of magic through Maria's grimoire? Yeah, I understood it. And then I despaired when I realized how powerless it was. And that's what Oni-chan is trying to force me to use now, isn't it? If I believe, if I use magic, then my family will always be by my side. Don't take me for a fool. You think that kind of magic, an illusion, a daydream, can heal those 12 years? And how am I supposed to go on for decades and decades into the future? Someone, come back to me, someone, but no one's coming back. So at least tell me what happened that day. Berncastle said she'd tell me. My master, I have the Book of the Single Truth. I'll take it back to you, so give me the truth. For so long, I've been prepared to throw away my naive hopes for a miracle. Now, tell me the truth of that day.
Go ahead.
A blinding light poured out of the chapel. It seeped from the windows and the cracks of the door, even reaching as far as Battler and Erica's eyes.
Oh, snap!
It seems Comrade Angie has completed her task. Looks like you've set up some pathetic seal, but to my master, that'll be easier than thawing frozen saucy fish.
That was an R.
Sorry fish? Sorry fish.
God damn it!
Master said I could play with you until Angie finished her task. I've had enough fun from this reunion, so I think it's time for me to leave. Rat out.
Erica gave an elegant curtsy. Why did you talk Angie into looking for the single truth? Your master must know that truth doesn't mean anything to Angie.
Yeah. All truth in this world are meaningless. And meaning comes from the mind of each individual human. Even when there is a single truth, it means different things to different people. The truth has no meaning in itself. There's just one reason why I'm still stuck on the truth despite it all.
Because you're the detective.
Good. But Angie-san, she isn't a detective. To her, the truth itself is the finish line. A way to mark the end of her unhappy life. Now she's finally finished the final purification ceremony. She's a one-night witch of truth, focused on learning a single truth before she dies. A temporary witch for the short time until she slams against the ground.
I won't let Angie die, no matter how tough it gets. She has to live. It's the only thing all of us want. If she lives, all sorts of magic and miracles would be possible.
If only you'd put your arm around her shoulder and told her that directly, you might not have lost. What do you think? Just by hearing you howl, this level of reasoning is possible for Furuto Erica.
Live, Angie! He yelled towards the chapel, but Angie probably wasn't even there anymore. Battler's yell was swallowed by the empty pitch-black sky and the sea of rampaging goats.
Comrade Eva, our mission is complete. Let's withdraw.
Oh, are we done already?
I was just about to tear the island apart with my own Eva culprit theory.
Ava appeared in midair and cackled.
Sorry, Battler-kun, that I wasn't strong enough. For 12 years, I protected that kid in my own way.
I'm grateful.
However, she's decided this all for herself. She's 18 years old now. Do you think people should decide how they live on their own lives?
Well, I'm sorry for being a doting big brother.
Later, nerds. I'm Lady Berncastle's piece at the moment, so it's time for me to go.
I'll see you later, Comrade Eva.
Ava held her palm open, and a small pointy blue fragment appeared there. The fragment burst, and with a blinding flash of light, Ava vanished. It was the same light that had seeped out of the chapel earlier. Pieces cannot leave the game board.
However, the Voyager witches alone could come and go. This was probably some sort of magic that Bernkastel had given them. Erica opened her palm as well, and the same sort of fragment appeared there.
That's not for now, I think. Who knows? This might be the last time that we meet.
Wait, we haven't settled our fight yet. If he could steal the fragment in Erica's hand, he would be able to go where Bernkastel was. The seal surrounding the Book of the Single Truth would probably be altered easily with Bernkastel's power. However, even so, it would take her some time. If he could steal that fragment, he would have a chance of bringing Angie back.
What is there to settle? Time's up. However, if you like taking one last hit, I'd be happy to oblige.
Yeah, past that.
Smoke him if you got him.
Battler had known that Erica wouldn't be able to resist the challenge. After all, he already knew what her trick was. He figured it out just a second ago. Even while he spoke with Erica, he'd been thinking about it inside his mind. To finish her with this last strike and take the fragment.
Let's go, Erica. So decide it.
This clash will be the last before I go, so go ahead and give me the craziest of your hilarious theories.
Your closed room definition stated that the walls, windows, floor, ceiling, and shade were all unbeatable. However, there's one possibility that I didn't check because it was too ridiculous. And that was whether or not the chain could be set from the outside.
Oh, motherfucker.
Blue Truth, this is the answer to your closed room. The length of the chain. The chain for your closed room was extra long, so it was possible to set and unset it from outside the room. What a ridiculous answer. However, if you blindly assume that a lock made by an unbreakable chain makes a closed room unbeatable, this would truly be a perfect closed room. The blue wedge flung from Battler's hand plunged straight into Erica's chest. As she winced in pain, her hand shook, and the fragment she held flew into the air. Yoink! Your closed room's definition stated that the walls, windows, floor, door, and chain were all unbeatable. However, wasn't there one really ridiculous thing missing?
Oh,
This is probably the
this
term.
is this is Erica.
Your closed room definition states the walls, windows, floor, door, and chain were all unbeatable. However, wasn't there one really ridiculous thing missing? Blue Truth. Your closed room had no ceiling, so it's possible to enter by climbing over the wall.
Erica's blue scythe swung out from behind her back, catching Battler in the side as he stretched his hand out towards the fragment. Battler's hand didn't reach it. The fragment returned to Erica's hands once more.
Nice try, kid. Looks like our chicks were equally ridiculous. The mystery nuts would have been furious, don't you think? But I disagree. To me, the process of exposing that ridiculousness is ecstasy. And that is why I'm for Riddle Erica, the detective.
Ugh, God damn it, you figured out the answer a while back, didn't you?
Not true. I thought it up between the time you let loose your blue truth and the time you stretched your hand out to grab the fragment. I've just been buying time since the beginning. I only started reasoning a second ago.
Erica broke the crystal barrier that surrounded them. Then she flew up high into the sky, looking down on Battler and laughing at him as she gave a final bow.
So long, Battler-san. Even if this has been my only time to shine, even if I've outlived my usefulness and I'm about to be thrown back into the depths of oblivion, even so, I have no regrets.
Wait! Like she'd actually wait because I just told her to.
Later, loser.
With the blinding flash, Erica vanished. Angie had retrieved the Book of the Single Truth and returned to Bernkastel. Battler and the others had no way to leave the game board. Everything had come to an end. A gold butterfly flitted by, and Beato appeared.
My apologies, Battler. I let Angie get away.
I'm sorry too. We've let them escape, and now it's all over.
Battler had created this game for Angie. Now that Angie was gone, the game board no longer had any purpose. And even if that hadn't been the case, the game board itself had been chewed to bits by the goats and was now like a single leaf floating on a sea of nothingness. Thanks to Gertrude and Cornelius' seals, the mansion was protected from the second floor up. The door to the Golden Land was now open wide enough for a child to slip through. Smaller people like Mari and Sakutaro went through it.
My friend, I believe that the door is opening at a quicker pace.
Indeed. To my eyes as well, it seems to be so. Oh, no. Father! Is the door open yet? It looks like they're about to break in through the windows. Well, Sama, there's no need for you to fear. An Eisen Jungfrau barrier is not so easily broken.
Very soon it'll be big enough for adults to go through too. Don't worry, we'll make it in time.
But there's knocking and banging everywhere, and
Stay calm and wait. After all, there is nothing else we can do.
Even the outer walls of the mansion were covered with goats, and they're plunging their fangs and fists into the walls and windows, trying to crush them. So anyone watching the goats stuck to all the windows in the hallway, smashing their thick arms against the windows, couldn't help but be terrified, even if they knew about the barrier. However, anyone watching the group of goats gathered at the top of the big staircase on the other side of the barrier would probably feel a different emotion. Rather than terror, it was a sad, empty sort of emotion. The barrier was drawn across the landing at the top of the hall's great staircase. Beyond that barrier, everything had already been eaten away. Was it even possible for those who stood in the hallway of the upper floors to believe that this was the Rokkenjima mansion? By now, no one looking at the scene would be able to imagine such a thing. Forget the hall or even the whole first floor. Even the ground itself was almost gone. The sea of goats had eaten everything apart long before this. They'd eaten apart the hall, the pillars of the mansion, the floor, the ground, the sea, the very concept of the island. Every part of the game board Battler had created, and now the only leftover was the upper part of the mansion, which floated along in an empty space.
How pitiful.
To what do you refer?
The goats, in their eagerness to chew this island apart, have eaten up the ground they stood on, dropping themselves into
Nothingness.
This had once been a huge entrance hall. Beyond it had been a vast rose garden. There had been so many places to stand upon. However, now holes had been dug everywhere, and nearly everything outside the mansion was completely gone. Some goats were clutching to the few remaining footholds and pillars, still eating away at them.
Let it be known that exposing the truth is murder.
Why can't humans live without killing? I
Wonder.
Throughout their long history, so many have prayed for miracles, but in the end, they eat up their own chances at receiving them, eating up the very ground they stand on and falling into the
Abyss.
They saw a goat chewing the same pillar that was holding it up, which unsurprisingly fell into the empty blackness along with the goat.
Humans are sad creatures fated to live in order to learn.
Oh, hello
Live
there,
and
Leo.
learn. No?
What?
Live and learn.
Hanging on the edge of
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
That hasn't been invented yet.
Yet.
But if it had been, I'm sure that I would enjoy
It.
However, after all, I am a literal
Child.
You've also got that blue theme going on.
I can also do a
Spin dash.
That's pretty sick.
I think it is quite
Poggers.
This is Leon here.
If learning means eating away at the same hopes and dreams that keep you alive, that would mean humans are born just so they can die. We're taught that we have to live. However, almost everything that we accomplish in life ends up killing us.
Well, just don't think about it. You'll get a headache.
As a single human, I want to ask, is learning a sin? Is living in ignorance the only way we can have hopes and dreams?
Both living with knowledge and living in ignorance have their benefits, as well as their shortcomings. You're even free to choose which path you take. So it makes humans powerless.
While people can learn, they cannot unlearn. And so the all-knowing God has stepped in for the sake of humans who cannot unlearn, marking out things that should be learned and things that should not be learned. Too much curiosity can kill your hopes and dreams.
Humans are pitiable beings who are unable to avoid those things which should not be.
Learned.
Lord Battler can hardly be blamed for failing to teach Angie.
This.
And now Angie's gone. This game is over. Oh, this was Will.
Whoa. I kind of like what my voice did there, actually. We have to try that again sometime. And now Angie's gone, and this game is over.
Struck dumb by Will's words, everyone fell silent. Only the sound of the goats eating away everything rang out hollowly. Even if they escaped to the Golden Land, the goats of emptiness would probably chew into that realm as well. Even if they got away for the time being, nothing would be resolved. It was all set in stone now, They had no way to resist the future's violent attempts to tear the cat box of the past open.
In that case, we must stay alive. If a human's foolishness makes them throw away their own hopes and dreams in the end, then I want to believe in those things until the last second.
Your resolve is impressive.
I'm the one hope held by Beatrices of a million worlds.
Beatrices.
That. So even at times like this, I have to be everyone's hope. I'm not giving up on this game yet.
By which you
Mean.
I'll keep waiting, believing in a miracle until the last second.
So you'll keep struggling on until it's all over?
That's right. After all, last time when we were surrounded by that pack of terrifying cats, we were prepared for death, weren't we? But Lambda Delta-san saved us. If we had given up, if we hadn't had the strength to believe in a miracle, then I'm sure we would have been erased before help could come.
Well, it's not like it really saved.
Oh, well, it's not like I really saved you, more like Byrne just failed to kill you properly. Or it might have been some whim of hers. A miraculous whim from the Witch of Miracles. I'm still here.
How long has she been there? Lambda Delta was leaning on the handrail of the staircase eating popcorn. She held the cup of popcorn out, but Leon declined the offer.
I'll take some, though. Can I? Just one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, theater butter.
Battler-kun told us, he said Angie-chan made a contract by which she would learn the truth in exchange for her own life. Going by your conversation just now, that was no contract. After all, living and seeking the truth so they can die is what humans do anyway, right? In other words, Angie has spent all of her life trying to learn the truth. All Byrne did was shorten that time to a single instant. When Angie-chan lost her hopes and dreams, she stopped valuing her own life. How can she be given hopes and dreams again? What can be done to help her find a reason for living? Are you asking me? I'm paper, right? Double-twisted, curly super paper. I don't understand complicated stuff.
After tossing the last piece of popcorn into her mouth, Lambda Delta threw the empty cup into the abyss of nothingness.
Hey, don't litter. Oh, well, I guess.
Byrne wasn't really pushing that kid to do something she didn't want. She was giving Angie a chance, or should I call it a choice? Then Angie made the choice she wanted, appeared on the game board, and now, in her game against Battler, she's making her own choices again. From start to finish, Angie's game has always belonged to Angie. Right now, I'm just a casual observer.
So not a particularly enthusiastic observer, huh?
Maybe. It's a play with an obvious ending, so I've decided I might as well take my leave. You mean you'll stop watching a play just because you think you know how it will end? Even though it might reach a climax you didn't expect.
Lambda Delta licked her salty fingers. Then she stared at Leon challengingly and grinned.
I know that Angie's game won't end this way. I know Battler-kun's feelings will reach her. She'll understand that he wants her to live in a better future, and she'll choose that future of her own accord. I'm certain that's how this tale will end. Huh? Are you talking to me, the Witch of Certainty, and saying that the outcome is certain? That's right. I guarantee it. Angie-chan's game won't end like this, so please don't leave your seat. We won't leave either. There must be something we can do, and that will surely lead her to a better future. This tale will definitely have a happy ending. So keep watching until the end, I beg you. Even though I've already announced as the Witch of Certainty that this tale won't have a happy ending. The definition of a happy ending is something everyone watching gets to decide for themselves, right?
For a while, there was a tense silence, with a confident gaze that seemed to be saying,
Are you serious?
Lambda Delta stared at Leon. However, Leon's eyes didn't even twitch. For some time, they both stared into the other's eyes without flinching.
Honey, you alright? You never look like me. You never look at me like that anymore.
Suddenly, Lambda Delta let out a large sigh and stretched.
Well, I have nowhere better to be. Sure, I'll stick around a bit longer. If you get me some more popcorn, that is. I'm feeling like caramel flavor this time.
All we got here are like frozen taquitos. I brought an emergency pack with me just in case.
If you come to the Golden Land, we'll serve you as much as you like.
Lambda Delta waved at them with a thin smile. No one was quite sure what this meant, but apparently signified her surrender in her own way.
Okay, if you'll guarantee your own flavor of happy ending with certainty, then I, the great Lambda Delta, will stick around for a while longer. See how big my heart is? As wide as Lake Biwa.
That's pretty thin actually.
And as gentle as the Sea of Japan.
That is a very rough
See.
Please, allow us to speak. It would seem she meant it the other way around.
There was some muffled laughter. Lambda Delta is the witch who gives strength to those who possess unshakable willpower. Leon believed in a happy ending, and that certain enthusiasm might be enough to earn a small miracle from Lambda. Although we know how Lambda's miracles work, which is like she just kind of steps in and takes credit when you've already had the willpower to make it happen in the first place, right?
You'd better not let me get bored, okay? If you do, I'll leave right away. Of course, I'm sure Battler-kun will be glad to welcome you as well.
Leon understood. In order to fight back against Burncastle, who had taken Angie outside the board, they would need the power of another who was capable of leaving the board. Their last hope was to make sure Lambda Delta didn't abandon this game. However, judging by Lambda Delta's expression as she hummed to herself cheerily, actually asking her for help was probably going to be a problem.
Look, Zepar, everything from the first floor down is gone. What a spectacle, not a sight you see every day.
I love that these two are so fucking useless in this. They're just the MCs.
I'm just here to look cute.
Wait, but I'm here to look cute. Nah. How have matters progressed upstairs?
Ah, right, we came here to tell you that. Hey, everyone, sorry to keep you waiting.
They say the door to the Golden Land has finally opened. Oh, I embellished too much.
Finally.
Let us go. This place will not be safe for long. Everyone who had been sitting on the staircase got up.
I guess this is goodbye, Rokkenjima the Beautiful.
True. It may be a shadow of its former self, but this is the last time we'll see it, isn't it? What's with that gloomy attitude? Come on, show me, okay? Let's see a happy ending.
And this is where we're going to cut it.
Wow.
Yep. I was instructed that, without context, I was instructed that you're going to want to cut the episode and cut into a live stream as soon as everyone takes refuge in the Golden Land.
Alrighty.
And that appears to be what is happening right now. So, the next time you see us, we'll be doing a live stream for the finale of the game.
Holy shit.
Holy shit. There's either a date on screen now, or a pinned comment, or in the description, or there's a different announcement. There's something telling you what the date is going to be.
Or vibes.
Or vibes. Just kind of feel the vibes of the universe. And I hope you all look forward to that. It's kind of sad that things are going to be ending now, but I hope you'll come out for that and we can celebrate the end of this long journey together. We'll see you then. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.